Maybe you've struggled to stay focused and motivated, bouncing from task to task without making much progress. If so, you are not alone. These are the challenges that each one of us struggle with at some point or another. And that's precisely why I am so excited to share my insights from Eat That Frog. Because let's face it, life's too short to be bogged down by procrastination and overwhelm. So, if you are ready to take control of your time, boost your productivity, and crush your goals like a boss, then stick around with me because you are in for a treat. Hi, if you are new to my channel, I'm Rani. I love sharing my experiences and knowledge with you all. Today, I want to talk about this book that has been a game changer for me and think it could be for you too. The book, called Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. The title may sound a bit strange, but it's actually a metaphor of tackling your biggest and most important task of the day first thing in the morning. By doing this, you have a sense of accomplishment and motivation to tackle the rest of your to-do list. So, because procrastination can hold us back in all areas of life. It can prevent us from reaching our goals, living up for our full potentials. That is why this book provides a strategy how to overcome procrastination and get things done. Personally, I've implemented some of the strategies from this book, and they've made a huge difference in my productivity and overall well-being. I'm able to get things done, and I'm less stressed about my workload. Actually, never stressed at all. So what can you expect from my summary? Well, I'll be sharing some interesting stories about my own experiences with procrastination. Alright friends, grab your favorite beverage, cozy up in your favorite spot, and let's start eating the frog. This is my cheat sheet because on top of my head, I do not memorize every chapter title. But let's start with chapter 1. Chapter 1 says, set the table. In this chapter, Tracy emphasizes the importance of setting clear goals and priorities. He suggests that just like setting a table for a meal, we need to prepare our minds for success by defining what we want to achieve. For example, imagine Rani. I'm setting up a beautiful dinner table for a gathering with my friends, and I meticulously plan the menu. I arrange the tableware and create a welcoming ambience. So similarly, in my life, I set clear goals for my podcast, outlining what topics I want to cover and what impact I want to make on my listeners. Alright, chapter 2, plan every day in advance. Tracy argues that successful people plan their days in advance, ensuring that they are focused and productive. So, imagine me. I sit down. I'm not saying I'm so successful now, but I'm just making myself an example. Imagine me outlining my episode topics on the weekend. I jot down key points to cover, and by planning ahead, I set myself up for success eventually, and that will, pay off later on. That's the example. Alright, I know that this next one is my favorite because I somehow memorized this. And yes, I'm correct. Chapter 3 is practice the 80-20 rule. 80-20 rule, which suggests 80% of our result come from our 20% of the effort. So, consider my podcast. I check my analytics, and 20% of my episodes are responsible for 80% of the listenership. So, because of that, I focus my energy on creating more content that resonates with my audience. That is the 80-20 rule. Chapter 4 is consider the consequences. So Tracy encourages us to consider the consequences of our actions, whether negative and positive. And if we procrastinate, that's a big, big impact. So, but not only because he wants to stress on procrastination. Every action that we make will have either negative or positive impact. And let us also give another example. I am debating whether to invest in upgrading my podcasting equipment, and then I weigh the benefits against the cost. So I decide on the long-term effect with investing for a better audio quality, and that would result into professionalism. That's why every time you make an action, consider the result. I'll give you another example. When buying a pair of shoes, I'd rather buy a quality pair of shoes than $80 versus the $20 that if I buy the $20 shoe, guarantee that I will just get more pain, and also I will have to replace it after 2 or 3 months. So that's another example. Chapter 5, practice creative procrastination. So Tracy suggests here that we should focus our task on high priority. So whether it's responding to emails, promoting our podcast, and we need to prioritize our task according to its urgency, because focusing on what truly matters, it maximizes our productivity. So it's as simple as that. Let's just prioritize the most important thing, what has the most urgency. And the next one is chapter 6. It's like the chapter 5. So this is what Tracy calls the ABCDE method. So continuously introducing, prioritizing our goals. So let us say I am writing my task for my podcast, and not just podcast. I have things to do on my list for the following week, and I set the goals from low to high priority. A is for high priority task, B is for important, not so important task, and C is for task with no immediate consequences. That is the approach of the 𝐴𝐵𝐶𝐷𝐸𝐹GHIJK as you create your task. You can finish the whole alphabet. Alright, next. Chapter 7, focus on key result areas. So Tracy emphasizes the importance of identifying our key result areas, the activities that contribute most significantly to our success. For example, it's me again. I am reflecting on my podcasting journey, and I identify my content creation, my audience engagement, my community building as my result areas. So that's what it is. So by focusing my time and energy on these core activities, I maximize my impact and I achieve my goals more efficiently. Chapter 8, the law of 3. The law of thirds, just like in photography. But yeah, the law of 3. Tracy introduces here the law of 3, which suggests that we should focus on the 3 most important tasks each day. Do you have that? Do you have that on your list? You should have. Every day is different. That is why whenever you write your task for the week, you also look at the top 3 most important days of the week, and then you narrow it down to a day. So let's imagine myself again starting my day by identifying my top 3 priorities. And we are talking about podcast alone, because I have other priorities each day, not just the podcast. When I start my day, I do this and that and then that. That's for another topic. But yes, my top 3 priorities. Let's say I record a new episode, and then I respond to the listeners' feedback from the previous episode, and then I brainstorm again for the next episode. By concentrating on this critical task, I ensure that making meaningful progress towards my podcasting goals every day is really important. Chapter 9. Prepare thoroughly before you begin. Tracy emphasizes here the importance of preparation, suggesting that we should gather all the resources and information we need before starting a task. For instance, I am preparing for an interview and I researched my guest background and I have a list of the questions that I want to ask my guest. And then sometimes I even ask if they are available, we can do a technical run if we are going to do a live podcast. Chapter 10, we're almost done. Take it one oil barrel at a time. Woo! It's like as simple as one thing at a time, one task at a time. So in this chapter, Tracy breaks down tasks into similar, more manageable chunks, making them easier to tackle. Let's imagine me again. I face a daunting task, let's say launching a new podcast series. So instead of feeling overwhelmed by the project, well, I break it down into smaller tasks. I research on topic episodes, I schedule my filming, or if I need to interview someone about the episode, and then I schedule my edit, and then I also schedule my social media post. So by taking it one step at a time, I make progress in reaching my goal without feeling overwhelmed. Next is upgrade your skills. Tracy emphasizes here the importance of continuous learning and development. And he is suggesting that we should always be striving to improve. For example, and I had to learn how to connect Zoom to YouTube and let's say Facebook and other platforms so that I'd be able to go on live on all platforms at the same time. I had to learn that. And I had to learn how to show the whiteboards. Yes, so this is the importance of always striving to learn something new because it's gonna contribute big time to your progress, to your success, to your improvement. Because by honing your abilities, you can enhance the quality of everything. For example, your podcast. And of course, it deepens the connection with your audience. Chapter 12, identifying your limiting step. Tracy encourages us to identify one thing that is holding us back from achieving our goals. The limiting step. Well, my limiting step in the past when I was still new on YouTube was I didn't know how to edit properly, I didn't know how to do the audio, I didn't know how to make thumbnails, I didn't know how to actually film myself in front of the camera because I was so shy and I didn't know how to do proper lighting, proper audio, proper music, editing, background music that I use. So those were my limiting steps when I was starting on YouTube. So when I evaluated those areas of my YouTube career, I was able to identify where I can commit more and what I need to prioritize and give more efforts. So yeah, that's why I believe I'm still here. Because guys, by overcoming your limiting step, you will remove a significant barrier to your success. Alright, chapter 13. Put pressure on yourself. Well, Tracy suggests that we should set ambitious goals and deadlines. We must put ourselves into pressure to perform at our best. Well, this is similar to cramming, but actually there is healthy cramming and unhealthy cramming, and we can make another podcast about that. All right, example, imagine me setting a goal to double my podcast listenership within 6 months. Now, by setting a goal that, all right, by this month I will have 50,000 followers, or I will have this number of audience that are listening to me in just in the first hour of posting the podcast. So, yes, that is setting a big goal for me because that will push myself to work harder, innovate, and take bold actions. Well, chapter 14 is maximize your personal powers. Here, Tracy emphasizes the importance of taking care of your personal power. Your personal powers are your physical and mental well-being. You have to ensure that you are operating at your full potential. For example, I have a lot of to-do lists. 24/7 is not enough for me, but I prioritize self-care activities like I spend time with my loved ones, of course. I make sure that I nurture my superpowers by maintaining a high level of energy. And then I focus and I allow creativity. I don't just do podcast recording the whole week. I walk, I do creative tasks like painting, singing, playing guitar. That's nurturing your superpowers. Because if you will neglect these areas of your life, then you will burn out. And for me, that is the importance of taking care of your superpowers. Chapter 15 is motivate yourself into action. So Tracy suggests here that motivation comes from action. And this is why I always say, just do it. Just do it. The time is now. Just do it. Because no matter how much task you have on your to-do list, no matter how big your goals are, if you don't start, if you don't take action, you will never get that motivation. Motivation comes from taking action. Chapter 16, practice self-discipline. In this chapter, Tracy emphasizes the importance of self-discipline, suggesting that we should train ourselves to do the things that need to be done, whether we feel like it or not. For example, again, imagine me committing to a strict recording schedule, but I don't feel motivated and I just feel like resting, but that was scheduled, so I have to train myself to be disciplined enough and stick to my schedule. Alright, after listening to this summary, let me ask you another question. Are you ready to overcome procrastination and start achieving your goals? If so, I want to reiterate these things and listen up to this because these are the key points for you to start eating the frog. Question 1. Why eat that frog? Why is it eat that frog is a metaphor for tackling your biggest task? That's question 1. Question 2, or key point number 2. The importance of overcoming procrastination in all areas of your life. And lastly, how implementing strategies from this book has helped me personally, and I want you to also implement that to help you achieve your goals by eating the frog. Thank you so much, guys, for watching, and if you've enjoyed this summary, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Let's overcome procrastination. I hope that you have a lot of takeaways from this podcast. Alright guys, thank you for watching and let's overcome procrastination!